So I finally ordered my Linnstrument, and a few days ago it arrived here. But before unboxing it, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I came to choose this device. 3 years ago, I started to make music. I wanted to do that since I was a child, but it just never happened. And then one day I thought, well, I'm grown up, I've got my job, so what am I waiting for? And at first, I used the piano mostly, because when I was with my grandma, I could play there, and this input method was something I was quite used to. So I started using the piano and took some lessons, and that was all right at first. But I wanted to be able to produce full-fledged tracks that I could release on major streaming platforms and maybe someday produce a CD. And then I started to work myself into using Ableton. In Ableton, the input method via piano was quite natural because of Ableton's piano roll feature in the sequencer. And also I could hook my e-piano up via USB over MIDI, and it was all very easy. Then I started to use synthesizers more and more, especially the Serum VST plugin. I got to know more and more people who were making music as well. Most of them were playing the guitar, and when I watched them play, one thing I really wanted to be able to do was doing slides and all the possibilities of different intonations of the same note. And that was something that was missing for me on the piano. So I started looking around for other methods of input. At first I wanted to have more dimensions of expression. But I hadn't heard of any MPE controllers or anything like that. So the first thing I thought I could do is add some expression pedals to my performance. So next to the pedals of the piano, I put 3 expression pedals and tried to play them while playing the piano two-handed and also controlling the sustain pedal. And it really didn't work all that well. But I didn't want to abandon the idea completely. So I kept researching and looking around, and I saw a few videos, and finally I saw someone play the Rolly C-board. It looked really amazing, and I wanted to try how it felt performing on this instrument. So I visited the biggest music store in my region, Thomann. And they had one on display, and I was able to play it. I think it was with the Equator synth that Rolly distributes with the C-board. And it felt actually quite amazing. So the big C-board was a bit too expensive for me at the time. So I didn't buy one, but it kept going through my mind. And one day Rolly released the C-board as part of their blocks kit. The C-board block was quite a bit cheaper than the big C-board, and so I jumped in and I bought it. When I first put my fingers into the soft touch surface of the C-board, it felt great. And I could shape the sound in many ways that were not possible before. But after using it some time, I discovered various problems. Because of the way the pitch is laid out on the C-board, I had to press exactly in the middle of the key to get the note that I actually wanted. And coming from the piano, where I could hit the key anywhere and it produced the same tone, that was quite hard to get used to. And another problem I had was that when I wanted to do pitch slides from one note to the next, the distances between the notes were not equally spaced. So it was very hard for me to get an intuitive feeling for how far I should slide my fingers to land on some note. And the last problem that I had with the C-board was that also from the piano I was used to playing with my fingers quite far into the keyboard, so I could hit between the black notes. And on the C-board, the Y-axis controlled the modulation parameter, so I was always getting modulations that I didn't really intend to play. I really tried getting used to it, but in the end I just gave up and sold it again, and I was back to using the piano. Around that time I got into Eurorack, And I started my rack out with a case with an integrated keyboard, and I bought the Waldorf KB37. I could connect an expression pedal, I had a mod wheel and a pitch bend wheel, and the keyset aftertouch. So that was about the peak of expressing myself on any musical instrument up to that point. So the idea of getting more expressive was put on standby for a while, and I got really deep into the gear acquisition syndrome. In this buying spree I also bought modules that I thought would further enhance my expressive play. So I got a theremin antenna, and I got a joystick, and I hoped that I could add just a little bit more liveliness in the performance. The idea was not that bad, but I always needed one hand to control these modules, and that was one hand that I very desperately needed to do other things. Maybe to control the mod wheel, to do pitch bends, or to turn some knob on the module. I ended up using them not as much as I expected. Yeah, and finally I saw the Linnstrument in a YouTube video, and I thought that's pretty much exactly what I need. But the price point held me back for quite a while. I really wanted to be able to play this way, but spending that amount of money on it, I was not really sure. But I couldn't get the idea of this thing out of my head. And I felt that I couldn't use the modules that I had to their full potential without being able to have the correct input method. So the day came and I ordered it. And then came the hardest part of ordering any instrument, waiting for the package to arrive. But it finally did. And so, as I found no other unboxing video on YouTube, I thought I would make one. Yeah, and here it is. That's the box it arrives in. Very plain. And inside of it, we find the carrying case and nothing else. And there it is. Dear new Linnstrument owner, thank you for liking Linnstrument enough to own one. It represents quite a bit of time and effort by me, software creator Garrett Bevin, and a few talented others. We are very proud to have created a new musical instrument that we hope will inspire new types of beautiful and creative music. The owner's manual, as well as pages for getting started, how-to videos, recommended sounds, FAQs, a user forum, software updates, the source code, and more are all on my website. From www.rogerlinndesign.com, click Linnstrument menu support. If you need help, please first see if you can find your answer on these pages, and if not, I personally answer all emails. Then there is the support email and the telephone number. If you bought from a dealer, please register your Linnstrument purchase with the link at the top of the Linnstrument support page. I won't give your email address to anyone for any reason. Registering will give you two benefits. First, if you register within 60 days of purchase, I will double your warranty from 1 to 2 years. Second, you will get a free license for Bitwig Studio 8-Track, a very capable DAW that supports MPE, polyphonic three-dimensional expression, in its internal instruments. If you bought directly from my online store, you already have the above two benefits. So thank you again, and please let me know if you make any impressive videos with Linnstrument or use it on any prominent recordings. Sincerely, Roger Linn. Well, that's very nice of him. And finally, here's the instrument. It feels very sturdy. It's all metal and the sides are made from solid wood. Here we have a power jack, MIDI in, MIDI out, a USB jack and a jack for a foot switch. That's nice. On the other side we have no connections, and that's about it. Let's see what else we have in the package. There is the USB cable for connecting it to another device. And we have some screws to mount a guitar strap to it. When the Linnstrument first arrives, it is not set to MPE mode, so when hooking it up to Ableton or another DAW of your choice, you first have to change mode. To do so, you go into the per split settings, and then you can see here, the first button is one channel, the second is channel per note, and the third is channel per row. And you just hold the channel per note button for a long time until it turns blue, and then it changes all the setting of the Linnstrument to the necessary options for MPE mode. And after that, you're ready to play. If you use Serum or a similar synth, you have to make sure you set the synth software to use a band range of plus minus 24 or an absolute value of 48. My Linnstrument arrived here with software version 2, I think. And what I saw in other videos was that when you press a note, all the other notes of the same value are lighted up in red. In the software version that I got, this isn't the case anymore. If you want to enable this again, you can do so by going again to the per split settings. And here you have the color options. And you go to the third option. The first is main, the second is accent, the third is plate. And you hold the plate option down until you get into this menu. And when it arrived here, it was set to cell. And then you can scroll with your finger until it says same. And then you can just exit the mode by clicking the per split settings again. And now when you hit a note, you see all the same notes highlighted in red. So now I've got the Linnstrument hooked up to my laptop. I've opened up Ableton 11 with its recently added MPE support. There are currently, I think, 3 instruments in Ableton that are MPE enabled. That is the sampler, the simpler, and the wavetable synthesizer. I've decided to use the sampler, and I'm using the grand piano preset and also a little bit of the new hybrid reverb. So let's see what it can do. So now that we've seen that the Linnstrument is working as expected, I'm going to hook it up to my Eurorack and see how expressive I can really play with it. Well, so now that I've tried to use the Linnstrument, I think this might finally be the controller that allows me to play the way I want. I'm really glad that Roger Linn took the time and effort to develop this instrument, and I'm looking forward to getting used to it more and more.